fiance, relatives, and welcome back to Muskeg Tea with Chantel G. As we step into this new year, I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you who continue to return to this space, those who have been here since season 1, and those who are just finding us now. Your presence, your listening, and your shared reflections are part of what makes this circle so special. This year marks season 2 of Muskeg Tea, and with it comes new episodes, new voices, and new guests, and that same healing medicine we carry forward together. This podcast remains a space of storytelling, truth, laughter, reflection, and connection, guided by our ancestors and rooted in community. We are beginning this season by honoring Indigenous entrepreneurs, those who create, lead, and build from a place of culture, purpose, and spirit. These are the visionaries who turn prayer into practice and passion into legacy. Today, I am honored to sit in circle with Andrea Steinhauer and Nehel Esquel from Satellite Cree Nation, the owner and creator of Angie Styles. Andrea is also continuing her academic journey at Blue Quills University, where she is working towards her degree in leadership and management. Andrea's artwork is deeply rooted in her Cree identity and spiritual connection to her ancestors. For over 18 years, she has practiced her art in a powerful and personal way after being gifted her kokom's crafting trunk, where unfinished projects became teachings, lessons, and continuation of lineage. Andrea creates from a place of prayer, intention, and good energy, using color as spirit and art as medicine. Her work has been featured across fashion spaces and has reached artists and communities across Turtle Island, carrying Cree beauty, story, and spirit wherever it travels. Thank you for joining me today and sharing your gifts with us.
Hi.
Okay, sister, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, Chantal, for inviting me to your podcast and to speak and to share my experiences as an artist. First of all, my English name is Andrea Steinhauer. Cree name is Medicine Heart Woman. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother of 2 beautiful young babies, and 3 and 10 months. So they're my tiny and my mini, and they're who drives me to continue to create and persevere in the art. Yeah.
Beautiful. So we're going to go to the beginning. Can you share what it means to you to identify as a Nehel Esquel from Satellite Cree Nation? And how does that identity show up in your art and daily life?
The beginning, well, first of all, I'm really proud of where I come from. I'm proud of the family that I come from. The nation. I'm from Satellite Cree Nation, and I remember growing up and just listening to my aunties and my uncles who were in that the few that were in that political realm, and being privileged to hear the conversations that were happening. And I didn't even realize it was a political conversation. I just had my ear to it and was like, I found it really cool. Like holy, like this sounds real mystical. It was something like a different world that I was listening to. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for hearing some of the things that were being discussed. One of the memories that really stuck to me was during the time of the Oka crisis, when Grand Chief Ovid Mercury came visit my auntie and my uncle is a couple doors down, and just listening to their conversations and and I was like, oh wow, it's scary, but it's pretty cool. Like hearing about how our women led that fight and being privy to that. I never realized how privileged that was to hear those conversations. And then just being from my nation, there's a lot of cool things that are happening. But like any other nation, we do experience resistance to change. But at the same time, I believe that we are going to that, getting to a better space and be able to work together. And I pray for all of our nations to be like that, like to get to that point.
You mentioned the Oki crisis. Is that what the incident that happened on the East Coast, like in was that Montreal?
That was Mohawk Nation. I'm still learning, but that was in the
Okay,
Mohawk Nation. Yeah, it was. I
when they were
found
trying to build that golf course.
that golf course over their burial grounds, and the women stood. That was to my understanding, and I thought my my feeling was like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be
Yes.
fierce, but I also want to be gentle. But that's kind of who we are as Indigenous women. Like even the whole, like how our facial features, like it looks, where we look very strong in that sense of, maybe that's our superpower, where look intimidating, but really we're like really fun loving and kind at heart, right?
Hmm.
But when it comes to my art, it's like it gives me a really good feeling when I'm creating, especially when I'm doing custom creating,
Hmm.
because it's like my process is kind of like so I sit with the person, or they'll tell me their ideas, and I'll ask them, can you give me a couple days before I come up with, so I can get shown, I guess, more in like a dream state. But not everybody, maybe other artists are like that. And then even sharing that. So now that I teach my workshop, The Heart of Beating, and go into the school or work with our youth, and with our youth in our community here, we have a youth mentorship program run by one of my good friends, Candace Cardinal.
Mm.
So being exposed, or being welcomed into that space with our youth, our young adults, because for me, it was like, my feeling was, man, like when I look back as being a teenager or early teens, like I wish that we had somebody of the my from my generation that was able to be gentle and wanting to teach in that sense. And I always wanted to be that safe space. And so now I hope I'm doing that. And so it's wanting to be that safe space for youth and young adults, and being gentle on sharing our teachings, my experiences, and we've been taking the time understanding that we, as Indigenous people, I believe that it's in our DNA that we are not meant to sit still
Hmm.
when we're learning. We're not meant to be that pen and paper, but it's in our DNA to learn from all of our senses at the same time. So understanding that we all have different learning processes. Like for me, I knew right away, because I was always artistic, so I always had to keep my hands busy in school. So I was always doodling and always got in trouble for not paying attention. But little did they know that I was processing everything as I was sketching, or keeping my hands busy with like pipe cleaners or whatever it was, because I'm processing it. And so during my time at Blue Quills, looking at how we learn as Indigenous people and our kids, I don't want to go there yet, but it's like, for me, that's the best way I'm able to retain information, and my processing all that is coming in, and how it all fits together. So that's what I share with our young adults, our youth, especially those that didn't complete school, or felt like they didn't fit in those societal norms. We're not that, us as Indigenous people, it's or First Nations people, and for me as a Cree woman, it's like, I'm okay with not fitting in. I'm okay with not being that societal norm of having a 9 to 5 job and doing all these other things and whatever society expects us to be. Because for me, I really enjoy being free, because I left a 9 to 5 job 6 years ago to pursue my education and to pursue my art, because I've been doing this. My youngest is 19, so I was pregnant with him when I started beading. And right from there, I started teaching. And so we're able to be at that point where I'm able to go out and teach now and teach others, and then still be home and be available for my family, for my grandbabies, and live a wholesome life to the best that I could.
Absolutely. I really love that point you made. Before colonization, we had our own systems, and it was the land and our elders that were our teachers. And I think it was where I learned at Blue Quills. I think it was like from when you're like an infant up until you're like 7 or 10. You've already gained so much knowledge that you're graduating by the time you're like 7 years old, 10 years old, because of everything that you've learned from the land, from the elders, and then just from community itself. And now we're in this colonized society where, yeah, I really like that you share that with your participants when you're doing your
The beating, yeah.
heart of beating.
Heart of beating. Not beating. There's two type of beaters. There's beaters or beaters. Just kidding.
I can be both. Okay, so when you received your Kokom's crafting trunk, what emotions or memories surfaced for you, and how did that moment shape your creative journey?
Oh, well, first of all, I was pregnant and I was so I had all my pregnancy emotions happening, and um I cried. I cried happy tears because I remember as a kid, my in my kukum's room, she had this we called it the tickle trunk, and my dad's late brother, one of his older brothers who had passed, had built that trunk for my kukum. And my kukum, she was a Cree instructor in Blue Quills quite a while. I think it might have been when the takeover happened, I guess, when all the nations took Blue Quills back. And so my Kokom was a Cree instructor there. My Muslim was a janitor as well. He worked there as well. And so anyway, my Kokom had some, like she had a home tan, smoked hide. So it had that smell in there, like unfinished projects, some bead supplies, because she used to make moccasins. And so from there, when my dad brought it to me, so it's 2005. And so I was like shocked because some of my cousins would be like, I wonder whatever happened to Kokum's tickle trunk. Here my dad had it. And so he gifted it to me for Christmas. And I was like, holy, like just taken back. And because there's like I come from a big family. So there's so many of us, but I ended up with Kokum's tickle trunk, my grandmother. And anyway, so when I opened it, it was like real nostalgic and was like, then you close it again. But no, you know that it felt so good to have a piece of my Kokum. And then looking through her unfinished projects, and like, cause I never beat it before then. And so examining her work and just kind of messing around and trying to figure it out, and just looking on the back side of it. So if you look at beadwork, you could see how the stitch, like the way the thread lays out. So that's my first thing was because that's how it always was. Like I would see something and try to figure it out and duplicate it or do it my way type of thing. I started beading and using whatever. So I kept those beads for a long time. I still have some of her beads, but throughout my creating in these just a little over 19 years. So I'd add a piece of a bead or two into my projects because it was part of my kukum. And then I was sharing my kukum with so many people, and in that way I felt, and I don't know, it makes me feel really good that like my kukum is still very much my being on.
I can feel that. That's some good medicine right there.
So part of her is still like, well, she's always with us, right? And so I'm very thankful for that. I'm very thankful that my dad, or I sit in gratitude that my dad felt good about handing down that the tickle trunk to me. I still have it. And then when I opened it maybe last year or earlier this year, anyway, I opened it and it still had that smell. But at the same time, my adult brain is like, maybe that's just that scent is connected to the visual part of it, the physical part of it. And it's always, that smell is always going to be there. But my kids, if they were to go and open it, would they smell the same thing? I don't know.
Mm.
I go really deep in thought about these things. But I'm very thankful with that because it brought me to where I'm at today. And so there was a point in my life where I didn't beat, I think it was like 3 years, but that was during the time of addictions, my alcoholism. So I didn't beat because I wasn't in a good space. And then my kids were, they knew it. To them, they grew up with me, see, watching me have my beading table set up. And it was just like always a little stool and a light. And I'd bead and they'd sit and play around me. So it was 3 years of not having that. And then when I finally did, and I'm like, it's time I'm start beading again. And then all of a sudden my kids, they're older now. So all of a sudden they're all one at a time coming with a blanket and a pillow and just chilling out around mom's beading station. And that felt so good. It felt so good to get back to that because that was their healing process as well, or their safe space, and it was my safe space. So
Oh, me.
yeah, it brought us back together because during that time of my alcoholism, it totally existed with my kid, and we just existed, and we didn't live a life together. So when recognizing that, it was really tough. It was a tough pill to swallow.
Oh, yeah.
But the more I was active and present, leaving that lifestyle alone, I felt that it helped bring me and my kids closer. But at the same time, it helped create that space of having those tough conversations of being a part of their trauma, contributing to their traumas. But nonetheless, we get ashamed of those periods of our lives.
Hmm.
But now I look at it as a process that happened, and it's too bad it happened, but it happened, but it brought us to where we need to be. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not
There
saying,
are life experiences
yeah,
and it shapes us. And sometimes when we go back to those moments, especially our lowest moments, like we have that guilt and we have that shame. And I was just talking about that today in training, where because of my own addictions and the experiences that I put my son through, whenever I think back to those moments, it just makes my spirit shake. I'm just like, and it's like, I wish I could just like turn that memory off, but it's like, I can't. And then I beat myself up, or, I wish I could have done different. But the biggest thing now is just being able to communicate with my son and having those open discussions and just giving him that space to get mad, to, point the finger at me, or whatever he needs to do, just giving him that space and just acknowledging it and just being like, yes, like that's your truth. Those are your experiences. And again, like, I'm sorry. And just to keep moving forward, right? That's all we can do is just keep moving forward. And I really connected with that, sister. It's like when you talked about having your station again, and then your babies coming with their pillows and blankets, like all I could picture was Mama Bear doing her thing, and the baby cubs are coming, and they're like, all right, like this is it.
yeah,
That's so beautiful. I just love that.
yeah. Hey, hi. I'm just thankful for those periods of my life.
So you've shared that your art connects you spiritually to your ancestors. Can you describe what that connection feels like when you're creating?
In the earlier time when I first started beading, I was like just kind of playing around with it. And then I remember my dad said to he's like, just sleep on it or pray on it and ask for the creative spirit to help guide you. And I'm like, there's such thing. I didn't, because I was young, right? And so I started doing that, and now it's like sometimes I'll just have this thought, like if I'm out away from home and I have this idea, I can't wait to get home and bring it to life. So what I do is, for me, I would sleep on it, especially like if I'm like, okay, how do I bring this? How do I bring that idea into the physical form? Because sometimes it would be a little too complex for me, and or I thought it was complex, but really it wasn't. But and then so I'd sleep on it And then so it would be like I could see myself or envision myself to how I was gonna do it step by step. It might sound a little too far out there, but that's
Hey.
there's sometimes I don't talk too deeply about things because some
Mm.
people aren't ready for that, or I sound like I'm kind of crazy or something. But anyway, but that's me, and I'm okay with who I am.
Yes, sister. Yes.
So there's like I'll create, and sometimes like cause singing, and I never really was a singer, but it just quite a few years back, songs started coming, and I started getting comfortable with it. So I'd sit at my creating station, and then I got my first rattle from my sister and my brother-in-law. Like it was 2018. So from there, I wanted to sing, and then so I left my rattle. It would be beside at my creating station, or just like in a reaching. So then I'd start singing and just bust out a crisp bleed. No, I'm just kidding. You get real shy when you're first starting out, and
Yes.
then so I'd be then I'd be just humming, and then so I'd start singing with my rattle, and so when I'm creating, I'm just like in thought and problem solving or reflecting, or there's times where people will say, "Can you pray for me? This is what's happening," or "I'm asking for prayers. This is what where my family's experiencing or I'm experiencing." And sometimes we hear people will respond, "I'll pray for you." But
Mm.
it's actually, yes, it's easy to say that, but it's putting action to it. Does that make sense? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm doing when I'm sitting there and I'm beating, and I'm quiet, and I'm just praying and envisioning good health or solution.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the most fun, and I share this in my workshops, and because I talk about song, I talk about dream, I talk about the teachings or what was taught to me in those dreams and that song. So the first time was when I was going to be a grandmother, and the song came loud, and it was so cool because this song showed itself before, and and then it came loud this time again because I kind of just pushed it aside, but then it showed itself again. I don't know. I maybe I'm getting a little too deep on this.
No, I just
I'm
love it.
a real
Oh, it's
deep
so
thinker.
good. It's so good.
So, and that song was brought to by this the baby. There was a baby that come visit me one time, and she was really cool little girl, and she was humming that song quite a few years ago. And then when the song presented itself, I was like, "Holy moly!" I just grabbed my rattle, and it was early morning because I wasn't always an early riser, but now I'm just chilling out and getting up at 7, not 4 or 5. But anyway, so I grabbed my rattle and I started singing, and it was so cool and then I realized the emotion, like the happy tears. I just felt so good just singing because I was like, it just came loud. So I was singing, and it was like, I'll just pause it there. I won't sing because I don't
Okay,
know
sis.
how the mic is gonna handle my voice. Just kidding.
Just try. Come on.
Okay, so the song is like, um, when the song was first presented to me, it sounded like an old song, and I was like, way ho, way, and this is a little baby that's singing this, humming it, and then later down the road, it was like, it went like, way hey 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 ho, way hey 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 ho, way hey 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 ho. And then there was words to it, and so I'm very thankful for that. And in the words, it says like, grandmother pray, so it's asking for the grandmothers to pray for you. So but I thought that was like, "Nutuku tayo gan kakisumono kakisumono," and so it's like I was so like just in total gratitude and love. I just felt love. I don't know. That's why I said I kind of feel like I'm real far out there.
No, that is so powerful and so beautiful. Like, just as you're sharing that, I could just like, I imagine myself sitting beside you right in that moment. It's 4 o'clock in the morning and you have your rattle and just sitting there and the tears coming. Like, I can just envision it all and I could just feel it, that spirit. It's so powerful and so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I just love it.
Hi,
I love
hi.
it so much. Like, oh, you'll just make me cry here. So how do you unfinish? So how do unfinished projects from your cookums? Sorry. So how do unfinished projects from your cookum become teachings or guidance for you today?
When I look back at it, I don't know. I'm like a romantic in a sense of like, holy man, these are my cocoon's unfinished projects. And then it's like, she left me blueprints behind from her cookum or her mom, her cookum or ancestors of, that's the way I see it. But maybe it's just like she accidentally forgot about it. Just kidding. But me, the romance about it is like, my cookum left this for one of us girls to pick it up, and it happened to be me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So she left us blueprints on how to do this and how to do that, and but that's the way I like to look at things. I guess I like to wear my rose-colored glasses quite often.
No, I love that description because honestly, I want to get to that space where I can leave something like that for my grandchildren that are going to be here, the next generation, and even using that description of the blueprint. That's exactly what it is, right?
Hmm.
Passed down from her mother, her cookum, and so forth. That is just so freaking magical. I can understand why you said you like romanticize it because it's that envisioning, that fantasy of not even fantasy, but just that reality of this beadwork and these crafts and even the hide being like passed down is meant to be for you and you have your beading station. That right there is good medicine. And now you have your grandgirls. They're watching, they're learning. It's magic. I love that.
Going back to my creating station, like my grandbaby, my son was like, you're gonna have to, what do you call it? Baby proof the house and blah blah blah. I'm like, no, I'm gonna teach her how to not touch things. Just kidding. She's gonna know boundaries. Well,
Mm-hmm.
when she's over and I'm gonna sit at my creating station, she'll be like, "Come!" Like the moment she sees me going for it, she pulls me back because I have to be present with her. And I totally understand why my parents drop what they're doing for the grandkids and just sit, even though it's just sitting, and they're just
Mm-hmm.
there and they're present. And the kids could be
Mm-hmm.
playing on the side over here, not bothering them, but they're showing that they're present. Anyway, and then so Mini Gals, my oldest grand girl, she would play when they lived with us before they got their own place. She'd play by my beating station or underneath my chair, and then you would see her little hands with her little people, the little tykes little people. And then when they moved out. Well, they got their own place, and then when she'd come over, she'd always leave something of hers at my beating station, and then I'd end up with bead soup because she's playing, and then I can't get mad, you know. I can't get mad at that, and because now that she's older, I'll be like, don't bother Cookum's station, don't bother Cookum's beads, and she'll be like, okay, and then she'll still be playing. I'm like, okay, get away from Cookum's beads. And she'll, okay. And she'd real fast put it in her mouth and take off. It's like, oh, all right, we'll see those beads later. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that.
Come back in a day or two.
And she's just beautiful. And when I think about it, I'm like, holy moly. Being able to provide for my kids, now my grandkids. So there's two generations from
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to provide for them with my art, through my art. And I'm just like so thankful. I'm so thankful. And even taking that leap of faith, and creators got me, trust the process, and leaving job security, financial security, like of that every 2 week payment and or paycheck and benefits and all that stuff, and then just saying, you know what, I'm just going to go do my thing. I'm just going to focus on my art, and I'm going to go get myself educated. I'm going to go find my answers to some of the, or I'm going to go find the answers to some of the questions that were asked to me when some of our women in our community that asked me and I didn't have the answers to it. And I sat in a place of management. So I'm like, what good am I if I can't provide an answer? If I'm sitting in this position over here and I need to be able to be confident and trust that truth of who we are as Nehewak, as Iskwewak, as, you know, matriarchs of our home. I did that push to want to go find out more about me as a Iskwewak. And holy moly, did I, you know, all of a sudden I was focusing on my art. And then all of a sudden I was just exposed to this world that I didn't feel worthy of. And I say it like that because of addictions. So being exposed to our women's ceremonies, like I knew of them, participated in them, but I also held a lot of shame at that time. So when I'd go, I'd kind of just sit trying not to be seen, but I'd go. And then now it's a whole different space that I sit in, and I feel good about it. I don't feel that shame because that was me. That was part of my life. That was who I was at one point. But we're constantly changing, and we have to adapt, and we get to know each other as we're adapting to ourselves, if that makes sense.
That makes so much sense. I really resonate with the part of our past and how it makes us feel shame, especially when we're trying to step into these new, I guess, circles of like ceremony. And I know even for myself, when I got my first jingle dress, I think it was like in 2019, it felt really good to put it on. It made me feel emotional and it made me feel like this is what I need to do. I did dance for the 1 year and then COVID happened. And then in 2021, I danced again. But then my brother passed away. And so it's been, yeah, going on to 5 years. And I know for this year, like I really, really want to get into the powwow circle. That's a new journey for me because I want to do it in if the right way. I want to be able to offer tobacco and see what the process is for initiation, getting initiated into the circle and just going on this new journey because when I first started dancing, I didn't do any of that because I didn't know. And even now, I'm still learning. And this time I'm ready.
Naps.
So you create from a place of prayer and intentions. What does that process look like before you begin a piece?
It looks scattered. It looks chaotic because I'm like, okay, so I see like what I see in my mind. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to need. These are the colors. So you can have, it could be the color of the rainbow, but you have like 10 colors of red, 10 colors, like all the different shades and blah, blah, blah. So it gets chaotic because I'll pull out these beads, or this type of whatever material it is that I need to use for that piece that I'll be creating. So I have like bins or bags, and it just looks, like I'm just really digging through something until I find what exactly it is, and then it'll stay like that for a bit. But then when I'm done creating, I'll clean up. Then my house looks okay. So right now it's actually not too bad. But when I do have like a custom order, and it's a large custom order, it'll stay chaotic for a while. But that's me because my mind is going all over the place, and um in a good way, meaning like the problem solving or the reflecting or just praying or thinking good thoughts about the owner of that piece,
Mm.
or other things that may be of that moment or that day. And so anyway, it looks chaotic when I'm going to start up, but once it's done, I'll just make sure get the light hits it nicely, and I don't know, I feel really good about it. And it's really, I enjoy creating custom pieces for people because I value that they trust my process because I'll sleep on it. I'll sleep on it for a couple days and then wait for the idea to come. And then when it does, I'll be like, okay, this is what, and then I'll draw it out. Or else I'll just be like, this color, this color, this color, and this is what's going to happen. Da 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 da. Like, and they'll be like, okay, let's go for it. You know? So I love, I love it when they give me free reign, but also enjoy collaborating ideas to bring a piece to life. Does,
Mm-hmm.
does that sound real far out there or what? Just kidding.
No, I envision like Picasso or freaking what's another deadly artist where they're just like with their paintbrush and all these colors and it's just like magic on a canvas and it's even though it's a mess and there's like paint everywhere and you're like a mess, you're just like it just turns out beautiful. It just turns into like this amazing art piece and you're just like, yes, that's exactly what I was envisioning. Like that's what I picture when you're like, oh, my bees. Even when you said the color red, there's like 10 shades of red. And I'm like, oh, wow, I totally even forgot about that. That's
There's
deep.
probably
That's
even
really deep.
more. Yeah. But, it's just an idea, the gist of it.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful. You use multiple colors in your work, each representing a spirit. Can you share how you choose colors and what you hope people feel when wearing your art?
How I choose my colors is I go straight to the rainbow colors. I go straight to the fire colors because you can't go wrong with using those colors. And for me, I feel good when I'm wearing very bright and elaborate things. And sometimes it all just depends on like I said, what shows itself or what's just what is there. Sometimes I'll have this idea and I'll have my color scheme of rainbow colors and I'll have the main color, but sometimes there's this other color that looks more deadlier with it. Just kidding. And I feel good once I'm done creating it. And what I really enjoy, like being a part of some of the fashion shows in Edmonton, brought me joy seeing the way the models felt wearing it. They felt proud. And I felt proud because you could see them like they're just standing tall. And I'm like, oh, my work can do like even a pair of earrings can do that. That is rewarding. And even when it comes to my jewelry, when I'm creating my jewelry, you don't want to get too pricey for myself. This is for myself. Like to each their own. And I go because I was a single mom for a long time and I wanted to dress myself up, but I couldn't afford the really nice blinged out beaded earrings. And so I wanted my art, my jewelry to be reachable for the single moms who wanted to splurge on themselves if it was 20, 30, $40 or $50. So it took a while to get where I'm at today because
Hmm.
I had a hard time selling my stuff, period. But then at the same time, as Nehewak, or especially mothers, we are very resourceful to provide for our kids or for our families. So it was having to step out of that comfort zone and say, you know what, this is how much work I put into it. Not exactly like that, but this is what I feel like it's worth. But at the
Hmm.
same time, not overdoing it so you could still accommodate that like the our women or whoever it may be that wants to adorn themselves with accessories.
Oh
Yeah.
man, the accessories. Some of the stuff that you created, when you said like the models wearing it and they felt proud, I was also thinking, and they look freaking hot.
Yeah.
Especially like those chest pieces or even like the belt pieces. I'm like, damn. Like, yeah, they look freaking hot.
I had a really hard time with that show, and I'm really thankful for my friend Amanda for the invitation to showcase my work in that fashion show that she organized in
Hmm.
Edmonton. Anyway, and it was like risque and edgy or something like that, and I'm like, how do I get real risque and edgy with beadwork? Like, and it's like it's real sick, you know, it's real tradish. And then I'm like, so I was talking to my auntie. I'm like, how do I? Like, do you think it'd be wrong if I was to do this and do that and for this fashion show? And she's like, well, you're the creator of your art. Just go for it. It's something different.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Mm-hmm.
others never saw it before. And so you're thinking outside the box. I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, but what about the medicine wheel colors and the fire colors and the rainbow colors? I started overthinking it and keeping myself in that space of not wanting to disrespect. Like that was the main thing, was I didn't want to overstep that line of respect for my art. It was tasteful still because it was it was a body, they're called body cages or chest
Mm-hmm.
cages. Those are like really something different for me. But like I've always had that idea in the back of my mind. Then I finally had that a space to create it for. So
Mm.
that was always there. Like I think it was like 2, 3 years, and then I'm like, okay, this is the time to bring it. That thought and the idea was there for a reason. It was much ahead of its time, but the time presented or the moment presented itself. I'm really thankful. I'm thankful that you came when I'm like, I'm looking for a model. And I felt like an imposter when I did my first show.
Why?
Cause I'm like, I'm just a beater. I'm not a designer. I'm not an artist. Because I never
Mm.
really saw myself like that. And then my friend Sheena Pappin, she provided that opportunity to display my work or showcase my work at my first fashion show, which was at K Days, and it was my daughter's first modeling gig.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And it kind of helped me get ready for this model search that they had at the River Cree for New York Fashion Week. But anyway, I was like, holy moly, this is pretty cool, but really stressful. Because for me, it was like I'm exposing myself to a whole different world. And how am I going to be welcomed? Will I be welcomed? Will I be accepted? There's a lot of that, like first time things. Like you always have
Mm-hmm.
those questions and those doubts or whatever. But I just went for it. And my sister came with me. So it was pretty cool. My sister Jode was always there. That's what I love. I love that. A lot of this journey, I was able to have my sisters there with me. And so they were like my security blanket, whether they realized it or not. Because to them, I looked like I wasn't even nervous at all. Meanwhile, I'm just like, And anyway, but they provided that security for me, and they still do, and I'm thankful for that. But meanwhile,
Yes.
look at me like I'm almost like a protector in a way or a big sister, but I'm the middle sister. I'm just thankful for that because for me everybody's my friend. Like I said, I wear my
Mm.
roses and I'm like, this is my friend, this is my friend, and I like to collect people. I like to collect friendships, and
Mm-hmm.
and I don't pay attention to that in the gut instinct or intuition. But
Mm.
I'm really thankful I met quite a few people on this journey. So now I'm able to, like, even with my workshops, like I launched my workshop, The Heart of Beating, I think it was like 6 years ago, and it was at Blue Quills. And it was so nerve wracking, but at the same time, I'm like, as I started going and getting more out there, now I go to different communities. And so I'm really thankful for that because it was trusting that process, trusting that creators got me,
Mm-hmm.
and just being open for those invitations. And now
Yes.
it's been 2 years that my daughter's joined me to co-facilitate. So she's more
Mm-hmm.
hands. I story tell and share my journey as an artist and all the bumps and bruises along the way, but with, what do you call it? Like gauging the audience. Because if it's a young audience, then I'll be very careful on what I share because I don't want to
Mm.
trigger. And it's straight speaking from the heart. None of it is scripted. It's just trusting who I am as a person, as an artist, as Andrea Steinhauer, as Mate Muskeg.
Heck
And that,
yeah.
and I'm like, sometimes I even forget. I'm like, who am I today? Because I'm just like, sometimes I'm just like me, myself. I'm like, I like being at in my home. I like being quiet or just, creating or just hibernating in a sense. And so kind of recharging. And then there's
Mm.
Angie Styles, the artist, the designer, alter ego. So then I'm out there like real. So, hey, just kidding. No, no, I'm just kidding.
It's real stoic.
Yeah, but no, like, and I find that like it's fun, but at the same time, I still have to be who I am, who Andrea
Mm-hmm.
is, and but when I step in spaces of that artist designer, I'm so confident in a sense of I'm okay if I have my quirky moments. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have like I don't apologize for being stupid. Just kidding, you know. I just have those moments, and I'm okay with that because a lot of times it's also why I'm okay with that is because there's others that it's their first time in those spaces, and I'm like, you know what, let's be scared together, or let's be this together, and we'll be
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day we all are afraid of something, or we're
Yeah.
all nervous for something, and so let's be nervous together. Let's be afraid together. Let's learn together. And so it's providing those spaces.
Heck yeah. How you mentioned your sisters and when they join you into those spaces and they look at you as like, you're so confident, you got this. Meanwhile, you're feeling a little intimidated or feeling nervous. And yet they're being that safe space for you. Just that sister bond itself, just having that safe space.
Hmm.
And it doesn't have to be like in a room. It could just be a person, your sister, your dad. You bring them with you and they're that safe space for you. And I love that. It's giving each other that security without even knowing like that's what you're doing for each other. It's really
Yeah.
cool. And then you're able to do that with other people, like with strangers, right? Like you said, like newbies. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, I've been there before. Like, come on, don't worry. And that's building that experience for them, letting them know it's not that scary, even though it might seem scary because it's new, right?
Yeah.
And just stepping out of that comfort zone.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure. Then
Yes.
we had did I had was given that opportunity to host a fashion show in my community, and I had free reign. I was like, holy heck, what do I do with this? And I was so scared to fail. But at the same time I'm just walking like I'm like I knew like I all the experience in the world, but I had experience backstage, but every experience was different.
Mm-hmm.
Experience on the runway, but every experience was different. But to coordinate an event like that, so and that whole time I'm just like, Creator, please take care of me and take care of us and let us work well together and bring whoever's meant to be there
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy this experience and our kids. So when I was given that opportunity, uh, by my sister Naomi, I call like I have a lot of sisters.
Shout out to Candace Cardinal. Shout out to Naomi. Like,
Yeah.
what?
And
Heck
then
yeah.
and then it's like given that opportunity to work with our youth, because a lot of our kids like on our own nations, and every nation is like that, is where our kids, some of our kids have never been to a town or have never been to the nearest town or have never been to the city or experienced these things
Mm-hmm.
that I thought everybody, when I was younger, everybody had that privilege to do so. Should I
Mm-hmm.
say privilege or experience to do so?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so experiencing all of this. So and I'm on my social media sharing my experience and this being exposed to the Indigenous fashion world within Edmonton, and also doing my workshops in other communities like Fort McMurray, or you know, in Ministiquan or wherever it may be. And anyway, and it's like that whole experience of getting ready for this for a fashion show the night before and the day of, the hustle and bustle backstage. I wanted to bring that experience to our kids. And
Yes.
I was given the freedom to do that. And I'm really thankful that our nation trusted me with that. Having all our youth come in and giving them that experience of hair, makeup, boot camp, And you, when they first walked in, they were kind of like, like, and I'd be like, "Hi, I'm Andrea," or "I'm Angie Styles," and like, I'm like, "It's okay. Here, this is where you're gonna go." When it was being gentle,
Mm-hmm.
but when the first kid walked in, I realized I just came on real strong. And I was like, "Oh," I was like, I don't even like being like that." I was like,
Just put them in a fight or flight.
yeah, I was like, "Hi, I'm Andrew Stout," and I'm just shaking the rope. And I'm like, "Here's Harry Mick," and I'm like, "Who is that? That's not me." Okay. My caring mother just kicked, like my mother had kicked in. I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you." I was like, "We have makeup right here if you want it. If you're hungry, here's a snack." That was me. I'm like, I realized I had to tone it down because I came on too strong. And so anyway, we had a really good turnout. We had a packed house. The nation showed up, our nation's members and visitors, and we had a really good turnout. And had to go to some of our artisans within the community that I'm like, "How come you didn't sign up? Sign up!
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, man, our nation needs you." And they came out,
Yes.
our designers. And so I'm really thankful for that. Our Sad Lake Sewing Center and all the ladies, they showed up. And geez, I just had a blank. The Pasquiaks, Bev Pasquiak and her daughter, dynamic duo. They're pretty wicked, and in the garments they sew and their creations that they create. Her sister, what do you call it? Geez, all these names are just coming. But yeah, so we had so many of our own artists that came, and I'm like, "Let's do this." So we did it, and it was packed house, and you were there, and it was like trying to crash course, because I know my generation and who's who kind of thing, like by their name, their dad, their kokom, their Muslim, their mom, dad, auntie and uncle. So it was having to get to know generations younger than me. So I'm like
Mm-hmm.
trying to get to know them real fast. Who's your mom? Who's your dad? Who's your Muslim? Who's your kokom? So once they get on that stage, I'm like, "This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is who," and telling their lineage, because that's who we
Yes.
are as
Yes.
Nihilwak, is where you come from. I come from spirit. I also come from, so and so. Like for me, when people ask me, I come from spirit. Well, who's your parents?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Arthur Steinhauer, my grandparents, and then I start naming off my grandparents, because that's who we are, because we know who we come from. And it's very important to cite that in a sense.
Yes. Yes.
So it was all that. And then the man got involved. And so that was cool, because then that really brought down the house, because we had our Muslims that were just strutting their stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Uncle Peter's there."
Mallory's dad.
Yeah.
Mallory's dad. He just took
Yeah.
it. He took down the house.
It was,
Saved the best for last.
that's why I'm just like, "And next we have," and I'm like, "Uncle Peter?"
Yeah.
But
He just real big smile.
yeah, so it was so cool, and then
Mm-hmm.
afterwards it was like, once the show was done, and then having what do you call it, Cameron Yanway, she's a young
Mm-hmm.
model from Saddle Lake, and now she's modeling out in New York. And then we
Mm-hmm.
have Danielle Lepetak, who's been a part of the Indigenous fashion scene. She came out because I put the call out, you know, and I personally
Yes.
reached out. I'm like, "You want to come, come and do this? It's in our nation," and blah blah blah. And they were willing to come, and they came, and they showed up, and they showed out, So I'm really
Yes.
thankful for everybody who stepped up, because they knew all the backstage stuff, to
Mm-hmm.
how to organize. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, I just knew my time slot as a designer
Right.
in those.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was pretty cool. And then to see the confidence in our young adults just shine, they were just like, all of a sudden they were just walking, and what, and I'm like, that's what it's
Yes.
like, "Fly, my pretties."
Honestly, that fashion show, even though that was your first time putting one together, it was such a vibe. It really was. Good energy, the models, the designers, like everything, it just flowed so well. And even sitting there watching you speak, I was crying. Oh my God, freaking rights, man, you did it. Even though you said you're like nervous, and nobody knows you're nervous unless you tell them, right? And you just be confident and walk with your head held high, like, hell yeah, I got this. And you do. You really do. You really did in that moment. Like, fucking rights. Freaking rights. This is PG. So,
Sorry.
what inspired you to turn your art into a business? What inspired you to turn your art into a business through Angie Styles, and what challenges did you face along the way?
What inspired me to turn it into a business was I'm like, how do I say this without getting in trouble? Because I'm like, I wanted to be my own boss and I wanted to do things my way and I wanted to do things on my time. I think that's like a lot of people have that same goal.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I've been doing it for few years, I'm like, should I go back to I've been thinking about that. Should I go back to work and then and then do this as a side job like I did before?
Mm.
And I'm like, but do I want to put myself in a box? Like I applied for jobs and then when they asked me, well, what do you bring to the company? Like who are you? And then so I'm like, this is what I do. When I like to help, I like to do this. I do land base and I teach my like beading and blah blah blah. I fell in, I do like support work in a sense and they're like twice like, well, I don't want to be the one to put you in a box because you have all of this
Mm.
going already. I was like, what? Yeah, I'm sorry, but this job isn't for you. I'm like, I don't even know if I should be offended or happy, and I'm thankful, but maybe deep down subconsciously, I wasn't ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really thankful for where I'm at. And what brought me to just being an entrepreneur is that I love interacting with people, especially when I do workshops, when I do markets, is just, that interaction of just meeting people or seeing people that I haven't seen in a long time and just that energy of, hey, because that's a really feel good energy and it gives you that boost to keep going. Like, look at what I made, and even though they're like they're just window shopping. I'm okay with you window shopping, but check out what I did. In a sense, not showing off, but more like when they say, oh, that that look or that feeling like, oh, this is beautiful or this is so nice and then you see the color that they'll pick up and I'm like, yeah, that's probably what we need in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
what they needed in that moment. And that's okay if they don't buy. I'm okay with that. Even when it goes to teaching. So I've taught like some of our young adults how to bead. And then jokingly I'll say, better not see this on, on our community page selling it as a raffle. Or, better about a spot sale. Just kidding. No, but like jokingly I say that. But when I see that, or like when I see their creations and they sell it, so then I see their next creation that they did on their own, and then so now they're starting. So if you can, I grew up hearing if you can be that one seed of goodness or impacted one person, then you're doing your job. You're doing
Mm-hmm.
the job that you're meant to do. So I get real happy when I see our young adults or my past students, um, making a living for themselves. And I always tell them, and if you're on my page, hey, and I'm like, add me. Just kidding. This is your cue to add me. Just kidding.
I'll do it for you. Bring me your phone.
Yeah, that's I'm like, let's see. Oh, this one, super like, oh shit. This is real corny. I just became that old person. Let's see, super like, oh my god. Anyway, and it's like if you see something on my page and you like it and you want to duplicate it, go for it. Because like I've heard people have told me or suggested to me, hey, you should copyright your stuff because you don't want people copying it. I'm like, but why?
Mm.
That's my own thing, to each their own, and I respect others who choose to. But for me, I for me, the way I see it is those creative ideas came from up here. They had to come from somewhere, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they ended up here. And then they ended up here. And then they ended up on a piece, creative piece. So that is not mine to claim. But it was shown to me to bring to life or to bring into the
Mm.
physical. So it's not mine to say, don't do this. That's mine.
Yeah.
That's me. And I probably will get some flack from others, but I'm ain't no way I'm gonna gatekeep what I create.
Yeah. Yep.
Because at the same time, it's like they for me that's my spirit and my intent that go into my creations. And then the next up and coming artist or the next artist or designer can take if they take that and create it, that's their own spirit and intent. So that's already a different spirit and intent that's in that duplicated piece. So who am I to say don't copy me?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
That's
okay.
some good medicine right there.
Hi. I'm totally
Yes,
okay
that's
with that.
what's that?
I said I'm totally okay with copying.
And you're like, copy me all you want. Fuck.
I'm like,
Yeah.
super like
Now you gotta make a medallion that says that.
you just do the finger like this to press, or my hands like this, phone.
So how do you how do you balance staying true to your spiritual and cultural values while navigating the business and fashion world?
I cry.
Mm.
I cry, or I sit and I like to be by myself because sometimes I'm like a lot of us as Nehewak, we totally understand energy. So when I have a show or if I'm busy creating. So when I know there's a show coming or a market coming, I'm busy creating this like couple weeks. So I'm in this high energy mode. And then in the meantime, still taking care of sales, promoting, and then going out to the market. And I'm really, like I said, I really enjoy meeting people. But at the same time, I do understand that energy transfer, that connection, because sometimes it gets a bit much for me. So I'll just like chill out at home. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not that I'm being phony. I also understand when I need to take care of myself, especially
Mm-hmm.
if I'm just kind of like, what's going on? Like I don't understand why I feel so lonely. But same time, we shake hands, we exchange hugs, and we don't know. But at the same time, it's all good. For me, I feel like it's good medicine when we just meet each other,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's just a passing by and just a hi. There's still that energy transfer. So I come home and I chill out, and it might be a week or two, and I'm one of those people who be like, hey, let's hang out, let's plan on this. I'll be like, yeah, yeah, let's hang out, and then meanwhile I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna, something's come up, and it's not to be in a butt about it. It's just, I'm not ready to
Mm-hmm.
leave my fortress of solitude. Just kidding,
Mm-hmm. I
because
was just thinking that it's that solitude, right? Just that
yeah.
moment to recharge and or even like you said, just to be by yourself. Like I'm always by myself. Hey. And I like it. I like it.
When I say by myself, it's not like totally by myself. It's like just being with like my boys, my
Yeah.
my partner, or my babies, my grandbabies.
Hmm.
Just within my home.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's what I mean by myself. Like I'm not totally by myself, but and I cry and I'm okay with that. Like sometimes
Hmm.
I'm just like real puffy eyed and whatever, and look real sickly, but here I just been crying because that's just the way I process, and I'm okay with that.
Releasing
Before,
energy.
yeah, before I'd be like, I don't need to cry. I was like real stupid to cry, and that's before. Now I'm like, I'm okay. Like I'll cry at anything. Like when I say I cry at anything, last year I went to we because I'm a part of the We Weeps and cohort as well. By with our
Mm.
she's our instructor, and she's the one, and it's all based on ceremony anyway. And we like for those that don't know what or haven't heard of We Weeps, and it's swing therapy, and so it's like that baby swing, that neo swing, Nehewak swing, is that how you say it? The like native swing that our kukums, Muslims, or moms, dads made for us in our home, but for adults. And it's like swing therapy. And so I'm part of that cohort. We're going into our third year. And anyway, we all decided we were going on a trip. So we did. And then I had this bottle of water because we went to Mexico. And we, that was where our cohort decided to go. We just wanted to go spend time together. And anyway, this bottle of water tasted like bottled water at home here. And even I was like, oh, water's so good. And I'm just crying. Like, and then my friend, she's like, are you crying? I was like, this water is good. But I was happy. I was so happy. Like even just to hear that water crashing, I was so happy to just be at the ocean and feel that power of our grandmother. Man, I was just like, oh my God, this is it. I was like so thankful and just like real silly little things I'd be crying. They weren't silly. They were meaningful. The smallest things were so meaningful. And I cry still like that. But yeah.
It's like this is life. Like this is it. Like it's happening right in front of me, and maybe not feeling like you're ever gonna have those experiences, and then when you finally have those experiences,
Mm.
it's like you can't help it. You can't help it. Of course, you're like, oh, like fuck yeah.
For real. I would just be like, oh my God. I'm like, look at that tree made out of empty bottles. Just kidding. Because there was. I was like, that's so cool. Look at that art.
Yes, yes. And that's like the artistic mindset too, right? You see the beauty in it, right? Because somebody put their effort, their passion, their time into making it. So you're like, yes, you're like, I feel you.
Ah, totally.
You're currently pursuing your degree in leadership and management at Blue Quills. How does your education support your role as an artist, entrepreneur, and community member?
Oh, as an artist, entrepreneur, and community member. Well, I'm kind of a bossy person to begin with. So it kind of goes hand in hand.
I'm like, respect.
Or else, just kidding. But anyway, for me, help me like pursuing this is because there's a lot of indigenous governance and also understanding our own governance system, which is our ceremonies. So being exposed to that and to be able to ask questions, to take all this information in or the best we could, and how does it help me lead is because, well, I like how it helped me do a deep dive on myself. Like, how do you want to lead? And then in one, I can't remember what course it was, but it was like what my experience was as an employee, or like what was a negative experience as an employee in the workplace. And I'm like, dictatorship, and like just being real, no this way or no way, and there's no other way to do it, it's got to be done this way, like things like that. Or just not valuing being valued as an employee, even if you had ideas to make things fun and not so dry sometimes, and they're like, no, you can't do that, this is how we do it. So it's learning. It helped me take a look, reflect on myself, how I want to be as a leader or as an employer. So I don't want to be those people that lead by like an iron fist and this is how you're supposed to. I want to be able to understand and know who's helping me get to this, or who's helping the business, or who's helping the workplace. Like, how can they contribute in a good way, and how can we make them be a part of this growth,
Yeah.
and not, this is how it's going to be done and that's it. So it's about valuing who I walk with.
I was gonna say, you mentioned like when it comes to who you're working with or who you're walking with. It brings me to what Shirley Hunter shared in one of the courses at Blue Quills, where she talked about everybody holds a gift. It doesn't matter about their title or like where they come from. Like everybody has a gift, whether
Yep.
that's like organizing, whether that's leadership, whether that's taking care of children or whatever, right? We all hold gifts, and that's what makes our community strong. I really like that you mentioned that. What does Indigenous leadership mean to you, especially as a woman creating space in both academic and creative worlds?
It means using your voice when it's trying to be when the space is trying to silence your voice, and to stand strong in in who you are, and your voice, even when it trembles, is to still speak those words that are meant to be spoken, or that are meant to reach the ears of those that are trying to shut it down. And also leading by following, in a sense. Sounds real cliche, but when I say that is, us as women, we're so interconnected that, like, goes back to the gifts, because this person might contribute to this, whatever, like maybe like a march. Take a march, for example, a peaceful protest. This one here could be walking up and, delivering song. So we're also interconnected, that we cannot do one thing by ourselves. There's always someone there to help us.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, maybe not, but spiritually and mentally, because sometimes we're doing something, we can hear our mom's voices. This is how you do it. So we're so interconnected, or your auntie's voice, or your kokom, or your, all of that good stuff.
Yes.
I get that's why I said I'm kind of weird. I kind of go all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm
I like
kind
your weirdness.
of
When you think about your art traveling across Turtle Island, what responsibilities or hope do you carry with that reach?
well, for me it's like especially, for example, connecting with one of the there was he's from Alberta, but he was out. Geez, it's right at the tip of my tongue. But creating for him, and even once he got his custom order, is like right away showed me the picture of how proud he was. And
Mm.
that's like for me, that's like my end goal, is to see how, like, if it makes me feel really good to create for you, and then to see that the expression of excitement and just feeling good with that art piece specifically created for you. It's like, that's for me, that's very rewarding.
It's like that spark within your spirit that keeps that flame going. You see their expression, you see their happiness, and you're just like yes, all this hard work, and like this is why you keep doing what you're doing, and that's like the hopes, right? Like I feel of
Yeah.
Angie Styles.
Yeah, I know. It just sounds like, when you said that, I was at this concert, and this one lady, and it felt so surreal, and I was just like, what? I was just taken back, because she's like, "Oh my god, are you Andrew Styles?" And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "I love your work," and I'm like, "Thank you." I was like, "Holy shit!" So I was like, "You see that, my girl?" Right away, because I was with my daughter, and then she's like, "Hey," my girl was not impressed. She's like, I got it. I
Of
just,
course, like days.
my girl, it was so funny. My girl was like, because she goes to Blue Quills now, she started her educational journey. So orientation week, the
Yes.
first day we're driving up, and she's like, "Mom, let me make my own friends." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Just let me be with my own friends. Don't come and like swoop in." And I'm like, "I won't, no, I'd never." And I was like, "But when you realize that I'm cool at Blue Quills, you can't sit with me." So I was just bugging her, and she's like, it's so funny when our kids just give us that look when we think we're cool. She's like,
Oh
"If you have to
yeah.
say you're cool, you're not cool."
Oh yeah. Yeah. My son said that to me before.
Yeah.
Just embarrass him most of the time. What legacy do you hope Angie Style leaves for future generations, especially for young Indigenous artists watching your journey?
Oh, the legacy is just to believe in yourself, to be kind to yourself, and to just trust the process, and to pay it forward. Whatever you learn, share with others, and and to be kind to others because we all learn differently, and just be gentle. Just be gentle because we don't realize how much we're or those cycles, those unspoken cycles that we're breaking by showing that compassion to the next person, or the impact that we're creating by showing the impact, and by looking after one another and loving one another, helping one another. Like those are our teachings, and that's something that I was raised with, and a lot of us as Indigenous people were raised with that because those are our laws. My legacy is I hope others that sat with me do the same, or that I've sat with do the same for the next generation.
Hey, so beautiful. Yes.
Potato.
This baked potato. uh, so we're gonna get into the closing. Is there any final words that you would like to share before we end this session?
Final words is just like I've said it a couple times throughout this whole session here, is that just trust in yourself, believe in yourself, be gentle on yourself, and love yourself. That was like the toughest lesson, or the toughest process I had to go through, was to love myself and to really look at who am I without these titles. Yeah.
Damn, sister. Honestly, I feel so blessed to have crossed paths with you. You say that you didn't love yourself, and honestly, like, I don't see that. I feel like you walk with like your crown straight. And the moments that we do get to sit with each other, it's like even though we haven't seen each other for a moment, it's like all of a sudden we're just like boom, we have those deep conversations, and it's such good medicine. And I just appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for sitting with me this evening and sharing your stories, sharing your experiences, and that love. Like, I could just honestly, like what I'm feeling right now, I hope our listeners feel that. I just feel the spirit of your art and your words. It's just so inspiring. Thank you so much. Andrea, thank you for sharing your story, your heart, and your medicine with us today. Your art is more than something to wear. It is prayer, it's memory, it's spirit, and it's connection woven together with intention and love. You remind us that creativity is continuation of our ancestors, and that leadership can be quiet, colorful, and deeply rooted. To our listeners, thank you for sitting with us in this circle as we move through this season, honoring our Indigenous entrepreneurs. May these stories inspire you to follow your gifts, trust your spirit, and create from a place of truth. Until next time, keep your tea warm, your heart open, and remember, you are never walking alone. This is Muskeg Tea with Chantel G. Hi, hi, exe.